Hey everybody, Genesis Jones here with Total G Shockers, and in this video we're going to be walking through the 5 steps on how to specify your hemisphere on your GPRB1000 Rangeman. So let's get started. So if you haven't already, go back and watch the first 4 videos in this series. Let me give you a recap. So in part 1, we talked about what tide levels and moon age are, why it's important, how you may find it useful, and we gave you a list of other G-Shock watches that have the tide level graph and moon age data. Now in part 2, we walked through how to check the current tide level and moon age of your Rangeman and how to avoid the error message setting the app to appear on your watch. I've noticed that a lot of people have had questions about that, so I wanted to address it in part 2. Now in part 3, we discussed how to actually read a tide graph and moon age on your Rangeman and how this could be useful to you in the real world. And in part 4, we walked through the 6 steps to adjusting high tide times on your GPRB1000 Rangeman and the importance of doing that. So if you haven't already, check those 4 videos out right now. Alright, let's get into today's topic. Now, how the face of the moon appears, meaning the bright part to the left or the right, will depend on whether you are viewing it from the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. Now, you can specify your hemisphere so that the watch displays moon phases as they actually appear in your location. So here are the 5 steps to do that successfully. Step 1, press the button in the top left corner of your Rangeman so that the tide moon mode setting screen is displayed. Step 2, rotate the rotary switch to move the pointer to hemisphere and then press the rotary switch. Step 3, rotate the rotary switch to select a hemisphere. Northern is the northern hemisphere and southern is the southern hemisphere. Now, if you don't know if you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, you can either look it up or I can briefly tell you right now. So if you're in North America, the top of South America, Europe, Asia, and the top half of Africa, then you're in the northern hemisphere. Now, if you're in South American countries, African countries, and Asian countries below the equator, or if you are in Australia or Antarctica, then you are in the southern hemisphere. If you're still not sure which hemisphere you're in, just leave me a comment below saying you need help figuring this out. I have no problem doing this for you and making sure that you have this thing set up correctly. Alright, so step 4 is to press the rotary switch to exit the settings screen. You will then return to the tide moon mode setting screen. And step 5 is just to press the bottom left button to exit the settings screen. By doing this, you successfully specified your hemisphere. It's that straightforward, right? Alright everyone, that's all for today. In the next video, wait a minute. This is the last video in the Tide Moon series. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can get notified when one of our YouTube video drops. So that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed this series. And as always, continue to rock your G-Shock nonstop. Deuces.